if my child can sit and tell me, Mum, it's time for me to go, and I can say to her, it's time.
Today's guest is a mother, a grandmother, a caregiver, and has been on a remarkable journey of strength and resilience, tears and bravery. My dear friend, Cathy Cassidy, welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
What's one of the most courageous things you've ever had to do? I'm sure there's many, but what would you say one of them is?
To care for my eldest daughter and her son, who both had terminal cancer, to push everything aside in my life, give them unconditional love, support, give them courage, even though they had, like, I can't, and to let them know, help them on their journey, and to let them know when the time was come, it's fine to go. It was fine to let go. It was fine to leave. Tell them that we'd be okay, even though we knew at that very moment in time, our world was broken, our hearts were broken. But it was after the fact that you realise how much strength and courage you have for people. You just give up for people that you love.
I can't imagine. When were you first aware your daughter Cassie wasn't feeling well?
I just had a tumour removed, and it was non-cancerous, and I'd gone into the clinic and I'd said to them, they said, right, you're fine, you can go, we're really happy and everything. I said, okay, I'm coming back next week because my daughter's been really tired, really breathless, and she's found this lump and she's coming to see you. And he said, oh, how old is she? I said, 23. He goes, oh, she'll be fine, we'll see you next week, don't worry. When we got there, we knew straight away, just by the look of the doctor's face and by the things they'd done straight away and by the way they were acting, that it was bad. But yeah, it was just like, I think a month leading up to when we found out, this is really bad, but we thought Cassie was on drugs or something because she lost a lot of weight. She was exhausted.
Yes.
She was even walking around the block with Kai on his bike. She couldn't catch her breath and she just wanted to sleep all the time, sort of thing. And then she said, no, I've got this lump, Mum, I think I need to go and see the doctor. And like, as I said, we walked in the clinic and within an hour of us being there and them examining her and doing biopsies, we knew straight away what was going on and what was happening.
And what was she diagnosed with?
Stage 3 cancer, which had spread to her lymph nodes. She had, I think it was 4 tumours altogether. Her whole breast was just cancer. And what they think is when she gave birth to Kai, because she tried to breastfeed and it was too uncomfortable, that she had been walking around with this all that time. And for some unknown reason, this moment in time, it just decided to start spreading, developing. So she went on, she had full mastectomy, went right back to her chest wall, chemotherapy, radiotherapy. Then she got the all clear, which was, hey, all brilliant. And then a year after she got the all clear, it came back. She was meant to have a reconstruction. And the week before the reconstruction, she found a lump in the other breast. Then we went through the whole scenario again. And that's when we discovered she had this rare gene, because the 2 cancers were completely different.
Okay.
So she had this rare gene. They said we need to get Kai tested because there's only 400 people in the world that's got this gene. We said, okay. And then, we found out that Kai had the same gene.
And how old was Kai then?
He was 5. So never in our wildest dreams thought anything could happen. Well, we knew he still had a 90% chance of getting a cancer of some sort in his lifetime. But because Cassie was so later in life, like she was still young, but this gene does normally affect you when you're a child. But because she was older, we kept thinking he would be older. And he was getting checkups at the hospital. Then, of course, Cassie got cancer again after that other one. And it was while she had that cancer again when Kai got taken ill, and we found out he had brain cancer.
At home, he wasn't feeling well. What actually happened there?
We'd noticed a few weeks beforehand his memory was a little bit gone, but also at the same time he had a lot of pressure at school, and it was really, really hot. So Cassie took him to the doctors, and they said it's most probably the heat, most probably the stress of what's been going on, because there was nothing else physically wrong with him. He was eating, he was playing, everything else fine. Cassie was rushed into hospital on this particular day because she had a seizure, and I had Kai, and he was staying at his friends, so I dropped him off at his friends, but they rang me and said they were a little bit concerned because he'd had a drink of water, and he had asked him for water again. He said he was really thirsty. Could he have water? He was still waiting. He'd forgot he'd had it. So I said, right, I'll come and get him. He'd forgot his mum was in hospital. And I thought, no, something's wrong, because he wanted to hold my hand as well, walking into the hospital. So I took him in to see his mum, sat with him for a little while, and he seemed to perk up. He was happy, and I thought, maybe it is what's going on. Brought him home, and he fell straight asleep. And I said to his granddad, something's not right. We'll phone the doctors in the morning, take him, get him sorted out, because clearly he's not very well. I got up in the morning, and he said he had a tremendous headache and he felt sick. So I said, right, you stay at home, we're going to take you to the doctors anyway, go to the toilet, and we'll see if he can be sick, because he said he was going to be sick. He knelt down at the toilet and he looked at me and he goes, why am I here? I said, because you said you're going to be sick. He goes, but I don't feel sick. So I phoned my daughter and I said, look, can you come with me, take Kai to the doctors? He's acting strange. He's just laid down with a headache. She said, yeah, all right then. So I said, all right, I'll go and get him up. We'll go to the doctor straight away. I went to get him up, and that's when I found him having a seizure. He had blood. Well, I thought it was vomit, but it was blood from the pressure of everything. So we called an ambulance. They were telling us what to do on the phone, which seemed to take forever, but it wasn't, sort of thing. He stopped breathing at one point, got him back again. We put him, ambulance came, they worked on him for about half an hour upstairs. Then we took him to hospital, and we couldn't tell Cassie any of this. And then the doctor came to see us and asked us about this gene that he had. And as soon as she said about this gene, I thought, he's got cancer. There was no other reason to ask us about this gene. We got to spend a bit of time with him before they went and done the scans and everything, but he wasn't conscious. He could hear us, but he wasn't conscious. We just said, like, Kai, you need to stop fighting everybody, relax, they're going to do some tests, you're going to be fine, you're safe. They took him off, and then they came back. He went up to the adults intensive care because he was so poorly that they couldn't move him to Cambridge. And then that's when we went and told Cassie that her son was in a coma in intensive care with cancer. He woke up, I think it took about a couple of hours when he woke up, and then he was paralysed on one side. And then a couple of hours later, that came back. And then they moved him to the children's ward into a private room. And then the next day, they needed to get him to Cambridge. As soon as he got up the next day, and they'd given him more meds and everything. As soon as they realised he was settled, he was comfortable, they took him to Cambridge, and that's where he spent. He was there for about a month while they were done all their tests and bits and pieces, operations, and Then he came home, but they basically told us he only had weeks because the chemotherapy didn't work.
Okay.
He couldn't have radiotherapy because of this gene. So I think in total, from start to finish, we had him for 14 weeks. He moved to hospice in Luton. I can't remember what it's called now.
And this was all the time while Cassie was in hospital herself.
She discharged herself. We went to Keach Cottage. That was it. We went to Keach Cottage. Stayed there. Cassie didn't say anything that her cancer was growing quite fast by then, but she discharged herself that morning when she heard about Kai. And her and Aaron stayed together in hospice. I stayed as well because Cassie's doctors were worried about her health, and I was staying there just to help. But all this time, Kai was deteriorating. Cassie was quite poorly, but she wasn't saying anything. She didn't say anything until Kai passed in November, on the 3rd of November, 2017. She didn't mention anything until February of 2018 that this cancer had been spreading and growing. And that's when they took her into hospital and said, yeah, it's another cancer, it's growing. We'll remove it. As long as we can get it all out, we won't give you no more treatment. I think they'd already decided treatment wasn't working. So they took her in, removed it. And then while that was going on, that's when my dad was taken ill also. Cancer as well. We had found he was only with us from beginning of February until first week in March. That's his cancer diagnosis, and took him in I think it was 5 weeks. But he was quite a strong character. He was a very courageous man. He was a very strong character. He said, I'm 80, I've lived my life, I've done what I've got to do, look after the children. Just he planned his own funeral and everything. Just like, yeah. But
that's lovely in a way, to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So but yeah, Cassie, they removed the tumours, and then things settled down. She lost her way a little bit. She was grieving, she was hurting. And then she just rang me one day and said, Mum, I've got another lump. So I said, right, we'll need to go back. She was seeing regular anyway. And then they said, done this scan, and the lady that done the scan said, when you seen the doctor? She said, oh, next week. She goes, have they been keeping an eye on you? She said, no. She said, well, you need to ring them and tell them you need to be seen sooner. And that's when we found out it spread. It was on her lungs, on her ribs, and slowly over the rest of the months, it spread to her liver, her spine, her pelvis. It just kept spreading and spreading. We moved into Moggahanger Hospice, St John's Hospice. Fantastic place. There for 5 weeks. I moved in with her. They let me move in with her. And she just slowly deteriorated every day. She never complained about her pain. She just put up with it. And then she said to me one day, Mum, I need to talk to the doctor. I said, all right. And then she called the doctor in. I said, I'll go. She said, no, I want you to stay. You need to hear this. The doctor says, what do you want us to help you with? She goes, I've had enough. I'm done. Please just do whatever it is that you've got to do to make me comfortable. I can't do this anymore. And I think somebody to basically say, help me die. She's took her life into her own hands and said, I can't do this no more. I've never, ever met anybody like that. Just was my hero at that moment. It broke my heart. Yeah. just to take her life back and say, it's my life, I've had enough, I've done what I've got to do. So, International Women's Day, she died. I think that says a lot.
Wow, how absolutely it does.
Yeah.
And, she couldn't be more braver. To have your son go through that and then herself being in hospital at the time, it can only, I can imagine, take a enormous strength, courage for all the things, like you say, in and out of hospital all the time, the different stages, and like still be there for everyone else. She discharged herself out of hospital because she wanted to be there for her son when she was so poorly. It just shows, put still at towards the end, put her, everyone else before her. That's really courageous of Cassie.
Just to me, that is that's courage. That is courage. That is pure, like, it's mother's love, yes, but it's also something. When Kai went, she still carried on. She still put others before her. She only started the other treatment was to relieve our pain. It weren't because she wanted treatment. She carried on the treatment because she wanted to be here a bit longer, sort of thing. And when, we sort of said, don't do it for us, do it for you. And that's when she finally said, I can't do this anymore. She knew what was coming, but she still had that courage to say, I've got to do this. She knew she was going to a better place.
Yes.
She knew who'd be waiting for her. And she did it. Yeah. That was my girl. She did it.
Yes. Bless. It has been a courageous story. Cassie is really a remarkable woman. Yeah, definitely. And like you say, was there enough support for everyone like yourselves as a family? And were you getting supported as well, being the parents?
Yeah. I think this is going to sound really strange. I think if anybody, people have doubts about things. Oh, this didn't happen, that didn't happen, this didn't happen. I think if everybody got the chance, even if they volunteered for a day at a hospice, at the unit, like the Primrose unit where they do the treatments, they would see that it's not just the patients get the best treatment. You can't fault the treatment is amazing, but the family members get treated just the same. They get respect. They get asked if they're okay. You've got counsellors there. You can have set up meetings to go and talk to them. There's nothing, even you get phone numbers, you get the whole package sort of thing. And I always say to people when they say to me, oh, my mum's got cancer or my friend's got cancer, I'll say, let the professionals deal with them. They're fine. They're going to be looked after. You need to look after you. You need to accept any help that you're given. Take it. Like, grab it with both hands. In the hospice, they were there with open arms. They would say to you, oh, we have a word with you for a minute. And you'd say, yeah, okay. And they'd know that you were struggling. They would come out and say, come on, come sit with us for a minute. And they would talk to you. They'd let you get it all out. Then they'd say, take you back. Or they just come in the room and say, I've got you a cup of tea. It's like, you're not here to look after me. You're here to look after them. But it's not. They look after everybody. The Primrose, you become a family. It's just like a family unit. You get looked after. And help is there. You're looking for answers. They don't say, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. They will give you, you've got that answer. They just show you that way to find that answer. And they are amazing people.
That's good. That's really good to know if anybody is struggling out there and, they dread they're alone, but there is help. They're not alone. Yeah.
It's like, it's other people. You hear about people that have got depression and people just going through a hard time, money, whatever it is. And that can really put a lot of pressure on you. Just take that step. Just one phone call. If it don't work for you, it doesn't work. But please, just do it. Just let it go. It will take that little bit of burden off you. It won't take it all off, but it will start. It's the start of a journey. The people are there to help. That's what they want to do. They want to help.
That's really good to know. And as a family and friends, were you supported with your friends and family?
Oh, God, yeah. They were always like there, always. People that I haven't seen for a long time, you get messages from yourself. It was nice, sort of thing. If you said, I don't want to talk today, they knew they'd left you alone. My family, they're all nutters anyway, so but they were there every step of the way, both times. And my work colleagues in my old job, they never stopped. I missed like award nights. They would video call me, so I was part of that. It was just, it's the littlest things that make the biggest difference. Yeah, I think I realised how much I have without realising. I didn't realise before, but now I do. I know, and I'm really, really grateful for that. I really am truly grateful.
That's great to hear. Yes, definitely. So I think you've covered this a little bit, but I'd just like to go over it. What words of wisdom or advice would you give any parents or grandparents, caregivers out there?
You're not alone. You really are not alone. Don't sit back and think, oh, I'm alone. I'm the only one that's going through something like this. Who can help me? Just reach out. Even if it's somebody that doesn't know what you're going through, people are there. They will help you. Just reach out. You're not alone. Nobody's alone. I feel lonely a lot, but I know that I've got people behind me. Just please don't feel alone. That's the worst feeling in the world, is fighting a battle and feeling alone. It's awful feeling. Just don't do it. Just open up. People want to hear about it. Don't think they don't. They do. They want to hear from you. They want to know how you're doing, and they're genuine. The ones that aren't genuine, you'll know. But most people are genuine. They want to know that you're okay. Even if they just say, how are you today? I'm okay, thank you. That's what they're asking you, and you've told them. If you don't want, I'm not okay, you'll know the ones that are genuine, because they'll say, well, tell me. But please don't feel alone. You're not alone. It's a journey.
Definitely.
Find somebody who's got that journey with you.
Could you describe how sharing Cassie and Kai's story has affected your journey? Because I know you did the Stand Up for Cancer as well, and I'll link the YouTube video to this, because that was a lovely video that was out for Stand Up for Cancer.
I think for us, it was because she passed away at the beginning of the pandemic. Now, if she'd still been about, she did her own YouTube channel. She'd encouraged people. It was just something. I was just sitting there one day and I was scrolling through the internet, and it popped up. Do you have a story? And I thought, yes, I do. I do have a story. Now, their lives, if I can share that story, their lives meant something to us. Their battles meant something to us. But if it can help somebody else, it'll mean more. They didn't fight. They didn't hurt. We didn't hurt for no reason. And hopefully it will give somebody peace of mind. Maybe it will raise money so there's another treatment that will help save somebody. Doesn't have to be millions of people, maybe 1-2 people, but still 2 people more than yesterday. Yeah, if that makes sense. It's just, if it helps somebody else, it helps somebody else, and that's what it's about. It's helping. Sharing is helping. It's caring.
Yeah. Yes, well put, Cathy. Yeah, because there is the Macmillan support line. Do you know of any other helplines that if anybody wanted to ring or get in touch with?
Most of it was Macmillan for us, and then they normally pass you through. If there's other things that can be done for you, it will come through them, sort of thing, like financial or make a wish thing, all them sort of things. They will advise you where to go, what to do. They 100% advise you on everything. They help with everything, and even like the Primrose, the chemotherapy unit. They had a nurse there that spoke to us, give us leaflets, advice. It's everywhere. If you just say, I need help, it's there. Just taking that. A lot of people like to say, I can do this myself. Don't.
The other thing is that I know some people that put off going to the doctor because they're too scared of what they're going to find out.
Yeah.
And that can actually not help because you're not getting the treatment when you need it.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to somebody that's too scared to make that first step?
I think a lot of people are worried that they're wasting time. But I think they're scared of what's going to be said. They're scared that they're wasting someone's time, and they're scared of looking stupid or foolish. Don't. Just go. If you go there and say, I found this, and they turn around and say, yeah, that's just a blackhead, or that's just a lump, that's a cyst, or at least you know what it is. You're not going to lay in bed at night thinking, oh, what if? And if it does turn out to be something worse, you're there. You're getting it sorted. It's just one phone call, one doctor's visit. That's it. It's not you. We have doctors for a reason. Use them. Don't abuse them though. But use
definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, even if you've got I've got a headache for days, they'll tell you to go to the opticians. Go to the opticians. Once you've been there, it's still the same. Phone your doctor. I remember I had I was feeling really off for weeks and weeks, and I didn't do it. I didn't go to the doctor. I didn't call the doctor. I didn't do anything, and I collapsed at work. And I was very lucky because I was cleaning out a fryer at work, and it was turned off. Normally, I would have been frying like whatever, and I collapsed while I was doing that. And all it turned out to be was my inner ear was blocked. That's all it was. But I was so scared because of all these other things that were happening to me and what was going to happen and what it was. One tablet, that's all it took. But instead I had to have an ambulance, take to hospital, sit in A&E, get seen by a doctor. All that money wasted because I had an inner ear problem. And it was just, there you go, take that. 2 days later, I was fine. So I'm guilty of it. But just go and get it sorted out. Just talk to them, tell them what it is. And half the time when you've spoke to the doctor, whatever it was, it's gone anyway.
That's good to know. Thank you, Cathy, for sharing Kai's and Cassie's story. I mean, she's one incredible, courageous woman. And, right till the end, she was like fearing for losing Kai and put all her own feelings aside and thinking of everyone else. Definitely a courageous woman.
Thank you.
So my last question to you is, what is your definition of courage?
What Cassie did and what she went through, I think overcoming your fear. Face your fear, overcome your fear, push through it. Just if you've got the courage to face your fears and push past your fears, then you've got it. You've got it. I've gone from being this very timid, quiet person. I didn't go out. I didn't do nothing. I kept really quiet. I was very, very much homely, to watching my daughter fight. For 9 years, she fought cancer. She never gave up. In that 9 years, she trained to be a hairdresser. She done nails. She was a carer. She done, you name it. We were trying to count them. I think we got to 21 jobs that she did in them 9 years. And she still carried on. She still pushed through. And I thought, if you can push through all of that and all that, why am I sitting at home threatening about going out the front door? scared to go to the dentist. Although anybody, we've all got fears, we've all got worries. But if you've got that little bit of spark just to push past it and say, I'm going to do this, just do it. Do it once. And if you didn't like it, leave it a couple of days, do it again. If my child can sit and tell me, Mum, it's time for me to go, and I can say to her, it's time, that's fine, you can go. I give my child permission to leave this world, and that was it. That was my biggest act of love and courage that I've ever had to do. Hers was saying, I'm going to go. Hers was saying, I'm done enough. Hers was fighting, and she fought hard. So for me, courage is you just take your life, you face them fears, you fight them fears, and you move forward. Don't let things stop you. There's a big world out there. There's a lot to see. There's a lot to do. Just bite that bullet and go for it. Do it before it's too late.
I couldn't put it better myself. Thank you very much, Cathy. Remarkable story. And yes, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you.